The starship Erebos hung suspended above the twilight world of Narisha V, its hull glinting faintly in the dying glow of a violet sun. Captain Jonah Vey stood at the viewport, hands clasped behind his back, watching the alien planet with a mixture of unease and awe. The human exploratory fleet had made dozens of first contacts over the decades, but this one was different. This time, the invitation had come not from scientists, merchants, or wandering nomads, but from a queen. The Nershans were an old, proud species, long hidden from interstellar politics, their matriarchal dynasties whispered about in old records. Their queen, Serindra, had summoned the humans personally. Not for diplomacy, not for war, but for a plea. Her daughters were missing. Jonah replayed the transmission in his mind. The queen's shimmering form, part crystalline, part serpentine, had bent low, her many eyes glistening. Her words had not carried command, but desperation. My children vanished beneath the silver storms. If they are not found, my line ends. The Nershans end. It wasn't lost on Jonah that if a ruling dynasty collapsed, the fragile peace of Narisha V could shatter with it. The High Council of Earth had sent him not merely to assist, but to ensure no rival power stepped into the vacuum. Still, Jonah wasn't sure what unnerved him more, that alien children had gone missing, or that the Queen believed only humans could find them. The vanishing. The Queen's palace was carved from an obsidian mountain that glowed faintly under the storm-choked skies. Jonah had never seen architecture so alive. Its halls pulsed with veins of bioluminescent light, as if the mountain itself had a heartbeat. Serindra's court received them in silence. Dozens of Nershan nobles, towering and insectal, watched with glimmering eyes as Jonah was brought before the queen herself. She sat upon a dais woven of metallic roots, her scales shifting hues with her mood. "Captain," she said, her voice both musical and sharp, "you have heard my plea. My 3 daughters, the last of my bloodline, were taken during the tempest night. Our skies tear open in silver storms, and from the rift they vanished." "Taken by whom?" Jonah asked carefully. "Not by whom," she hissed softly. "By what?" "Something that slipped between worlds when the veil grew thin. My seers saw shadows woven with hunger." Jonah glanced at his science officer, Dr. Amara Kell. She gave the barest shake of her head. Rift phenomena were rare, unstable wormholes that opened under unusual electromagnetic conditions. Dangerous but not unheard of. "We'll search the coordinates you provide," Jonah said. The queen leaned forward, her massive form casting strange, fractal shadows. "Bring them back, human. Life. For if you do not, the Nershan throne falls, and with it, peace collapses. You will have chaos on your borders." Jonah bowed his head slightly. Understood. But even as he spoke, he wondered, why had she chosen him? Why humans, when her own people were masters of this world? Through the silver storm. The storm front raged across the alien horizon like a curtain of molten mercury. Lightning spiraled upward instead of downward, threading into the heavens. Jonah's shuttle dipped low, buffeted by the roaring winds as Amara scanned the atmosphere. "There's heavy gravitic distortion," she shouted over the din. "Not just a storm. It's like reality is folding in on itself." If her daughters were caught in this. Jonah's jaw tightened. "We'll find them." The shuttle plunged through a veil of silver mist, and the world seemed to ripple. Jonah's vision doubled, then tripled, as though space itself was fracturing. Suddenly, the storm cleared, and they emerged into an impossible landscape. Floating islands drifted in a void, stitched together by threads of light. Trees of liquid glass grew upside down, their roots reaching toward a sky of endless black. Jonah felt his heart race. This wasn't Narisha V. They had crossed into another dimension. "Captain," Amara whispered, awe in her voice. "We're inside the rift." Jonah scanned the floating islands. Movement. Figures darting, small and quick. With a surge of relief, he recognized them. 3 young Nershans, their forms smaller and more delicate than their mothers, but unmistakable. They were huddled together, frightened. But they weren't alone. Something vast uncoiled behind them. A shadow, yet not a shadow, its form ever shifting, its edges unraveling like smoke. It had no face, no eyes, but Jonah felt it watching. Felt it hungering. "Entity, get us closer," Jonah barked, gripping his sidearm as if it could make a difference. The shuttle lurched, dodging floating debris. The daughters saw them now, their crystalline scales flashing in alarm and hope. They were cornered against a broken shard of land, the shadow curling around them like a predator. Amara's instrument screamed. "It's feeding on them. Their life energy, their quantum signature. Whatever this thing is, it's draining them into itself." The youngest daughter stumbled, falling. The shadow surged. Jonah didn't think. He leapt from the shuttle as it skimmed low, his boots slamming onto the shard. Pain lanced up his leg, but he raised his weapon, firing into the shifting dark. The bolts tore through, scattering fragments of shadow, but the entity reformed instantly, thicker, hungrier. Lunged. Jonah threw himself between it and the children, raising his arms. He expected death. Instead, the shadow recoiled as it touched him, shrieking in a voice that rattled bone. Amara's voice crackled through the calm. "Jonah, it doesn't want you. Your biology repels it. Humans are toxic to it." Jonah's mind raced. No wonder the Queen had summoned humans. She had known or guessed that this rift-born predator couldn't consume them. "Stay behind me," he told the daughters, his voice steady despite the pounding of his heart. "I'll get you out." The escape. The shadow attacked again and again, but each time it came close, it twisted back, unable to fully touch him. Jonah guided the daughters step by step, shielding them with his body, until the shuttle hovered above. Amara extended a gravitic tether, pulling them aboard one by one. But the shadow wasn't finished. As Jonah leapt for the tether, the entity surged with desperate fury, wrapping around the shuttle itself. The hull screamed as the creature's presence gnawed at it. "Jonah!" Amara shouted. "It's trying to drag us deeper into the rift." The daughters shrieked, clutching each other. Their crystalline bodies pulsed with weakening light. Jonah, dangling from the tether, reached out, not for a weapon, but for the smallest of the daughters. He pulled her into his arms, cradling her against his chest. She trembled, curling up instinctively, as if his heartbeat was a shield against the darkness. The shadow recoiled again, shrieking louder than before. Its hunger turned to fear. Jonah realized with dawning clarity. It wasn't just that humans were toxic, it was the bond forming between them. His protection, his heartbeat, his refusal to let go. Something about that connection burned the entity like fire. "Amara!" he shouted. "Get us out now." The shuttle engines roared, ripping free from the shadow's grasp. Light flared, the rift collapsing behind them, and then silence. They were back in Narisha's storm-tossed skies. Jonah collapsed onto the deck, the smallest daughter still curled tightly against his chest, her glow slowly brightening again. "Return to the Queen,"